Peter Weber is the new Bachelor.
Thank you so much.
What does that mean when you hear that?
It's still hitting me right now, and I feel so grateful right now.
The Windmill Guy who did it not once, not twice, no, not 3 times, but 4 times in the windmill. Can't wait to hear about that nonstop all next season. But how did we get here? It takes a lot of specific circumstances to unfold for you to be picked as the new Bachelor to lead the franchise into 2020. So, what were those circumstances for Peter Weber? Why was he picked? In this video, we're going to be looking at social media following, who else was considered, and why they weren't picked, including all the Mike stuff, which, I know, a lot of people are upset about him not being the Bachelor. Me too, I am too. We'll get there. And then we're even going to put on our tinfoil caps to dive into a conspiracy theory I have, so you're going to want to stick around for that. So last week it was announced. It's Peter, it's done. But really there were 4 names I've heard thrown around since the end of Hannah's season of The Bachelorette. Peter obviously was one, but there was also Mike, Tyler, and Derek. Him being a more last-minute entry that I really saw was a long shot. But at the end of the day, I still really only think there were 2 guys in actual contention for the spot, but we're going to talk about all 4 anyway. So let's look at the first factor, the easiest thing to spot and to call to as a reason why one personality from the show is picked over another. Social media following. Now, you could have the perfect genuine guy ready to go, who's super excited to find love, the exact temperament for the job, and also happens to be a complete heartthrob, but if some guy, some Joe Schmo, has about 10 times the amount of followers than him, you better believe Joe Schmo's getting the spot. Now, not saying that Peter is a Joe Schmo, just that sometimes you have to go where your audience is. And 1.2 million Instagram followers is a safe bet to take if you're producing a show as big as The Bachelor. And those are pretty huge numbers for someone who wasn't even on Paradise. Mike and Derek both sit at half or less than half of that with 500 to 600,000. A lot of that pulled in over Bachelor in Paradise. And then there's Tyler. 2.2 million. So now you might be thinking, well, why wasn't Tyler picked then? Here's where some of those extenuating circumstances come into play. Ones that really don't involve Peter much at all. Because you would think, with how many people were just in love with Tyler coming out of the end of Hannah's season, and the fact that him and Hannah aren't together, well, what's the problem here, Bachelor producers? Why not Tyler? As some of you might know, after Tyler and Hannah had their post-show drink together, there were a number of rumors coming out that Tyler had begun to date model Gigi Hadid, who, by the way, Tyler said they're just friends as of right now. And from here, I think it was done. Tyler, apart from now being involved with someone, seemed to be pursuing other career options over being the next Bachelor.
Yeah. No, I got some other things I'm working on.
You do have some other things
Yeah, so we'll, hopefully that comes out soon and we get it figured out.
Not to mention, he's also apparently said he's, quote, done dating in the public eye. And, well, being the Bachelor, nothing's more dating in the public eye than that. So it's hard to look at this and think he even wanted the job.
And I'm trying to possibly bring on a partner to be my eyes and go back and forth, so construction is still like a part of my life that I want to have and do.
But, of course, this is to say that Tyler would have even been considered for the job in the first place. Yes, he was talked to about the job, and I'll add his dad's health was also a factor in why he wasn't interested.
Yeah, it was something we talked about,
yeah.
But where I was at in my life and the point I was in my life, I just didn't think it was where I wanted to be.
But we know the people at The Bachelor talked to Peter and Mike as well, so it's hard to know if Tyler would have gotten it even if he wanted it. What I mean is, the people at The Bachelor seem to have this idea of what a lead, what a bachelor is supposed to be. And Tyler wasn't really following The Bachelor rules after his time on the show, with the Gigi stuff and pursuing his modeling career over shilling to Bachelor World on Instagram. As a producer, you then look at Peter and go, well, between the two, he's more likely to represent the Bachelor brand that we've tried to establish. Someone who's not just ready for love, but ready for marriage. His career is already in place, and it's doing well, and now it's all about wifing up. So let's talk about this Bachelor brand, and this is going to lead into the Mike stuff I want to talk about. Because, of course, it wouldn't be a proper discussion on who they picked and why without bringing up Mike. So we actually have a quote from an insider close to the series about some of the qualities they look for in a bachelor that they found in Peter. According to them, quote, Peter has always been their guy. He's older, he has a career, and he has a great backstory. He can definitely carry a show. Let me get one thing straight. I like Peter. I think he's going to have a good season, and I don't think he will be a bad or inferior bachelor. But I have to say, every quality in that quote is something someone else has as well. I'm talking about Mike Johnson. Older? Yep. In fact, Mike is 3 years older than Peter. Has a career? Absolutely. Great backstory? Mike would have been the first veteran bachelor. Had a dramatic breakup near the end of The Bachelorette, where both parties left on good terms, and then didn't find love on Bachelor in Paradise, and now he's ready to find the woman of his dreams.
The little kid that everyone says is, oh, we love you, we like you so much, but I have to watch everyone else play from the window.
Oh, and not to mention he'd be the first black bachelor. And the thing I don't get here is how the producers don't see a black man who's a viable option for Bachelor as an absolute windfall. Can you imagine the amount of publicity the show would get? The influx of new viewers the show would receive and potentially get hooked into for seasons to come? Peter is more of the same, or well, similar to what we've had before. We've had his type, we've had the pilot before, so you're not going to be reaching a new market in the aviation crowd. So why not Mike? Is it because Peter was safer? Is it because Peter is white? Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and say that's the reason why, but I'm confused. I want to hear a solid reason from the people at The Bachelor why Mike wasn't chosen, because to me it doesn't make sense when you look at both the Bachelor brand they talked about in their leads and from a marketing perspective. Were they scared of some sort of pushback? If so, why? One perspective is that they had picked all the women for the show already and the women matched Peter. By the way, you can check out all the women already on the Bachelor Facebook page. But that seems like a silly reason to base your franchise lead off of. And I know Mike wanted it. He said so. Even if there are rumors going around that he's been seeing Demi Lovato, or, more recently, Tayshia. Yeah, Tayshia. But these things were, in all likelihood, happening after he knew he wasn't going to get it. So it wasn't a case of Mike not wanting it like Tyler might have not wanted it. I'll add there's Derek as well, who got a small but vocal push for Bachelor from some people after his time in Paradise. But as far as I can tell, Derek was never truly considered, and at best was a backup option if others fell through. Okay then, so what was the deciding factor? We have social media following, the Bachelor brand, but what about something else? What if there was something they would never tell us that pointed to Peter being the Bachelor from the very beginning? Something strong enough to blast him past all other candidates. So it's time. Time to don the tinfoil cap, because I smell a conspiracy. Ah, it's been a while, my old friend. Alright, take a look at these photos of Peter. What do they all have in common? Delta, Delta, Delta. Well, what do you mean, Bachelor Fantake? What does this have to do with anything? We know Peter is a pilot. We know he works for Delta. Yes, that's true. But can you imagine the amount of exposure Delta Airlines is going to get with one of their pilots being the next Bachelor? For a whole year, longer, they'll have one of their pilots as a huge public figure. This kind of reach is hard to come by. So who knows what those lobbyists from Delta Airlines could have offered the producers? A sponsorship deal? Free flights to Paradise for life? A map leading to the Fountain of Youth so Chris Harrison can host the show forever? I don't know about you, but if I start to see Delta Airlines logos in the background of Peter's intro shots and anywhere else in the show, I'm gonna wonder, what went on behind closed doors with Delta Airlines? Or maybe they just wanted Peter because he lives right next door to the mansion.
Lives about 5 minutes from the Bachelor Mansion.
Yeah, no joke.
Why send a limo when you can just take the bus there? Or walk? As for any other theories, you'll have to ask the producers themselves. And if you have something they've said publicly that I've missed, please feel free to comment below and tweet at me, because I would love to hear it. So that's it for this video on Peter and why he was picked. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to like and subscribe for more. The countdown to January has begun. I know, it seems so far. but we'll make it through this off-season together. Until next video, Bachelor Fantake, out.
Thank you so much.
What does that mean when you hear that?